I think he will come back again. So happy Diwali to all of you. Nice to see you all again. Ashwini
Happy Diwali to
Akka,
you, Anna.
Menaka, happy Diwali, happy
Happy Diwali
Diwali.
to you also, Anna.
Happy
Yeah,
Diwali, Anna.
and yes, very good.
Everyone.
There are at least 30 students. I'm so happy today. At
Happy
least there are
Diwali, boss.
30 students. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Happy Diwali. Now he yes, he's back
Yes.
here.
Am I audible now?
Yes, absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
This is
Yes, yes.
what I learned, that when my voice doesn't go through in a Google Meet, I need to log off and log back. Anyway, it's exactly half
Okay.
past 4. Good evening to all of you, my
Yes.
dear fellow travelers in pursuit of knowledge and excellence. I believe that you're all here to learn something, and I also start with one quote, which is learning begins in the womb and it only ends in the tomb. So we have to keep on learning until death.
Yes,
So,
yes.
how many of you are there? I see about 37 of them. In that, how many
Yes.
youngsters are there? I want to see more youngsters.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah.
see your
Oh,
faces, please? I'd like to see your faces. I see Tasmia, and
yes.
I was born like your Bhaskar Anna. I was also born in World Without Web. So I don't know how to see all of you in one page on this medium or this platform. One somebody has to guide me to click some button where I will see all of your faces, or how to see the other faces also. I like to see more people.
Yes.
Yes. There is somebody in the spaceship. Amoga, Varsha. Nice, good. Kumuda, can we see your face? Let's see all your nice faces. Come on.
Kumuda has raised her hand.
Okay. How many more? I don't know what I should be doing. Yes, Lavanya, Sakshi, Manjunath. All right. Very good. So I understand you're all from your 8th standard, 9th standard, and 10th standard. Am I right? Yeah, one of you
Y-
can, interact with me and you can
Yeah,
tell me.
Tasmia, you are from seventh standard, right?
Yes, Anna.
Yeah, Tasmia is from seventh standard. Amoga,
Okay.
you are from
Okay.
now ninth.
I'm in 10th now.
Oh, Amoga is in tenth. Amoga is in tenth. Yes, yes.
10th. Okay. Now I'm going to be dealing with a very interesting topic, but at the same time, it may also be very delicate. I'll clarify from your side as well as the teacher's side. Any teachers over here? I see
Yes,
some
yes,
elders here.
yes, yes. Kalpana is here. She is the head of the academic administration of all the schools and the junior college. Kalpana. Kalpana,
Wonderful,
over to you.
wonderful. Good. So, may I ask
I
you?
will.
I will be asking
Thank you.
questions. I like to make it more interactive. If it is more interactive, it is better because I somehow
Okay, just
don't
to
like
clarify
monologues.
something,
I like dialogues.
Mr. Jonathan, the children off video, but they're listening to you because the data packs won't support them to stick on for another
Okay.
hour.
All right. All right.
Okay, that's the reason why. But they're all listening to
That's
you,
all right.
and they
Now,
will interact when they have to speak. Right.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Let me interact with at least one or two of you. I'd like to know from you, Miss Singh, what is the kind of problems that your children face with their handwriting in their day-to-day writing in schools? Do you have a problem in handwriting, any one of you? Have you been told that you need to improve your handwriting?
Legible handwriting,
Pardon?
legible, I say, but there is no artistry in it,
Okay.
and it's quite disjointed. It's a mix of running cursive as well as print. It's not totally
Cursive and
cursive.
print.
It's
How
mixed, and
many?
I think, yeah,
Okay. I'll clarify all that to you. How many of you children,
yeah.
now I am there with you. Tell me how many of you really hate handwriting? You don't like it? Nah. I'm with you. I also don't like it. How many of you were forced
Yeah.
to write? Look at the hands going up. Very good, very good. So how many of you don't like handwriting? And why you don't like handwriting? One of you. Tell me why you don't like. Okay. You
No,
don't
come on,
like
Tasmia.
handwriting.
Anna,
Yeah.
Yes, Tasmia.
Anna, how much ever we write properly, Anna, still it is said that we should still improve our handwriting, Anna. That's why.
Very good, very good. How much ever we write, they say still you have to improve, you have to improve. Why? Have you ever asked why? How much ever we are trying, but why they are telling improve, improve? How old are you, Asmiya?
Me, Anna?
Yes,
Yes.
13.
13. Okay. Now you see, I want all of you to understand very clearly that many youngsters, year after year, millions of youngsters are suffering with bad handwriting, illegible handwriting. Even if you try to improve to bring in legibility, it is not improving because what are you doing to improve your handwriting? What were you told to do? Can I ask Ms. Kalpana Singh, what is that methodology that you're using to ask them to improve their handwriting?
Yeah, and I must say, sir, in the initial, as an NGO, see in most other schools, and I've noticed that difference. We were meant to do, or we did a lot of cursive writing in books. We had handwriting books,
Yes,
right? But now,
yes.
because we're an NGO, and for paucity of funds in our initial years, this thing was just given. It was just limited to whatever was there, like the notes. There was no emphasis given on handwriting practice as such.
Okay, okay. See, as long as you have not used cursive books or copywriting books, you're very safe. I'm going to tell you a shocker. I'm going to give you a shocking news that this cursive handwriting is not the right kind of handwriting to be used in schools. When the British gave us with the Macaulay system, they brought this cursive handwriting, which was called as the cursed handwriting. Because when you wrote faster than your human capacity, your H, M, N, U, V, Ws, when you wrote, they all went into waves. They became like waves. And when you wrote faster, you malformed the letters. So that is the biggest problem that is happening today. It is a historical aberration where a flawed system was given to us. So we cannot blame anybody for bad handwriting. Tasmia is so happy. Let me see. Her smile is more than 1 mile. Most youngsters will be happy when they come to know they are not to be blamed for their bad handwriting. Correct? And teachers also. Don't blame your teachers. Teachers also were not taught proper handwriting even 150, 200 years ago. It was a flawed system. But then until 1970, when life was not so fast, people took their time to think and write slowly and formed each and every letter carefully and joined one to the other. Before that, you would have seen your father or your grandfather using a steel nib, dipping and writing. Now, today, how many people have got that kind of time to spend to write? They write faster. And people said the world is going faster. There's one boy sitting in the spaceship with all computers around him. So they want to go fast. At what cost?
And
So,
abbreviations. Thank you now is TQ.
Yes, let me come to it. We started writing by scratching in the walls of the caves. The caveman started communicating by scratching in the walls, making some pictures, and trying to keep the count of certain numbers and all that. From there, it came to what is called as pictograms. They drew some pictures. Then it became hieroglyphs. And if you look at it, it came from Sumeria, the modern part of Iraq. Then we went into Mesopotamia. Then we had the other civilizations like the Indus Valley civilization. Then you had the Maya and Inca civilization. You had various civilizations where they had to communicate. So to communicate, they brought in some symbols. So from pictograms, it went to hieroglyphs. From hieroglyphs, then later in the Middle European region, they started forming the letters of the English alphabet. And then the final shape of A to Z that you see today, the capital A to Z, was designed by the Romans. That is why when you open your computer and look at various fonts, it has a suffix called as Roman, Roman, Roman. You must have wondered why there is Roman. And where is Rome? Can I ask you? A little bit of geography. Where is Rome? Anybody? Where is Rome? Rome is in?
I guess Italiano.
Very good. It is in Italy. And then we also have a style of writing called as the italics. Ludvigo Arrighi designed these italic letters. It also came from cursive and also became italic. And in italic, we wrote in an unjoined fashion. Many schools today don't understand what is italics. Like Mrs. Kalpana Singh said, it is what do you call, either print or cursive. Print is different, but italic is different. Now, when we teach people italic and it is written in unjoined fashion, the readability is greater, the clarity is better. And most of us who were told writing in a joined fashion is mature, it is adult. I ask all of them, all the teachers that I have taught and I have interacted all over this country and elsewhere from America to New Zealand, what is your mother tongue? Now, in all English-speaking countries, it is English. But in India, what is your mother tongue? You tell me, all of you over here. Please tell me your mother tongue.
Hindi.
Kannada.
Okay, Hindi. Urdu.
Hindi.
Kannada. Hindi.
Tamil.
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 Kannada.
I am Urdu.
Kannada.
I am Urdu.
Urdu. Okay, then.
Anna
Okay.
Telugu.
We have got. Telugu. Okay. Now, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, do you join up and write? Do you join letter to letter? You don't. हिंदी में भी कैसे लिखते हैं आप लोग? हर एक अक्षर को जोड़ते नहीं हैं. ऊपर एक तो रेखा होता है. One common line. You don't join up. Urdu and Arabic have got a rule where you can join. You write from right to left. In that, you can try to join a few letters. And you'll take the case of anything that you see in print in English, right from the day you are born, your textbook, morning newspaper, storybook, any leaflet, is anything joined? Nothing is joined. So why should we join? As I said, cursive was a historical aberration and they said you join up and write. It came from a style called copper plate. So what you need to do is write unjointly, and then you need to know how to hold the writing instrument, how to sit, and how to form your letters properly. If you write unjointly, you will have greater clarity. Okay? Even look at the Eastern languages, Chinese, Japanese, Taiwanese, Burmese, Thailand, all of them write in an unjoined fashion, singhalese. So, writing in an unjoined fashion is acceptable and it is the right thing to do. So, please don't blame them. It is a mix. Sometimes it's a mix because they have been confused. Each school uses a different system at times, and then they themselves explore and they find that, okay, you ask me to improve, why it's not improved, so let me try to write it unjoined so that it is clear. So it is like, each one trying to find their own way how to improve clarity. Let me tell you, this copywriting is the most dangerous form or a method to teach people how to write, because you're copying a shape without knowing how it came into existence. If there is a sentence, imagine, I went to the market, if I had a sentence there, how would the children write copywriting? Tell me, how many of you write, I went to the market, I went to the market. You write, I. Went, two, there's no place, market has no place, you start jamming the market. So where are you forming the letters properly? And there's 4 lines book. Oh my God, everybody says 4-ruled book, copy book, handwriting book. What are those 4 lines? Does anybody know? Even teachers are not aware. So they don't teach you what these 4 lines are. They're like a track where the topmost line is called as the ascender line. The second line is called as the mean line or the shoulder line. The third line is called as the base line. And the last line is called as the descender line. So for lowercase letters, the body of the letter should be between the center 2 lines. The ascenders of B, D, H, K, L should touch the ascender line. The descenders of G, J, P, Q, Y should touch the descender line. And it should have controlled height and width. Now, you see the copybooks you get in the market. These 4 lines will not be of the same width. Some 4 lines will go like that. Some of them will go and converge. So, how can you get the, proportions and clarity properly? How can we blame the children? So please stop blaming any child for bad handwriting. And children, don't also get back at your teachers and say, my teacher also writes like Koli Kalu, Gubachi Kalu. And I request all the teachers, when you write that remark, in case you have written in any children's book, you must improve your handwriting. Please see that remark is readable and beautiful. I'm sorry. Many children have told me, my teacher's handwriting itself needs improvement. And my teacher is telling me to improve. Right? Don't read me wrong. I'm telling you the truth. Most children love these sessions because it is in favor of them. Why are we troubling them? So we need to ask the questions when a child writes and then does not write properly. Where is the child going wrong? Why is the child going wrong? How is the child going wrong? What makes the child go wrong? All these questions. Then we will understand that there are so many things that we as teachers should know, right from the birth to the developmental stages of children. Now, we all know that after 1 year, we are also like computers coming into this world, which is when hardware has come in, software has to be loaded. How is the human software getting loaded? By sensory organs, by eyes, ears, nose, tongue, whole skin, right? All inputs are going in, sounds are going in. And then after 1 year, processing happens, and then the child tries to say, ah, ba, boo. Then you try to form the expressions, isn't it? Then according to your language, your way of diction in the house, you teach them how to speak, right? Then now the biggest danger is they are forcing children at the age of 2, 3, and 4 before they are biologically ready to perform the task of writing. That is where they develop an aversion. And that is where they're not able to hold the pencil properly. And look, the pencil is so thin. And then the child, look at any child, child is 5.5 years. The fine motor skills, as we say, is not developed in the hand. You give an object, the child will pick up the object like this. Now I'm just going to be taking what do you call a stapler. The child will hold it like this and take it. When you ask the child to leave it, it will just drop it like that. The child cannot pick up anything with just these 2 fingers. That kind of a nerve and muscle coordination and the fine motor skill has not been developed. So when you give them a pencil or a crayon or something, they'll hold it tightly like this. Look at this pressure with a forefinger. Press it hard because the brain gets a message that this is going to fall off. So children start developing high pressured hold, pen hold. And then they write with a lot of pressure, dig into the paper. Many of them like to see a dark impression. They would have been given HB pencils. HB is a combination of hard lead and soft lead. And you write with it, it will look grayish in color. They're not happy with gray. I want dark color, so press more. So we have started to give them pressure the way they hold and press and write. So give them 5B pencils which are soft lead. When children are young, when you start them to brush their teeth, you give them soft bristles. You don't give them hard bristles, isn't it? Like that, you need to give them soft lead, which dissolves very smoothly. Start with 5B, they may break, but tell them don't clutch it too hard. And don't ever try to teach handwriting before 5.5. When did you all start? Amoga, Tasmia, Harshita, all of you? When did you start writing? Who taught you handwriting? I hope I'll see some more people so that I can, interact with them. It'll be more fun when we interact. It's more enjoyable. When did you start writing? How old were you? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years?
Maybe when I was 3.
You were 3, see?
Yes,
There is a
sir.
problem that in our country that they must teach formal writing only when they are about 5.5 or 6. We did a research in Europe and UK way back about 30 years ago. We collected children who were less than 6 and we collected a group of children who were more than 6. And we taught them this handwriting. The ones who were less than 6 were throwing up tantrums and they didn't like it and they didn't settle down even after 5 years when they were about 11, 12 years old. The ones who started after 6 beautifully settled down, no tantrums and no problems. So we understand that it is a natural activity that has to be done when you're biologically ready to perform this task. What damage is done, forget it, because they did it unknowingly. But henceforth, at least, don't ever tell them to write before they are 5.5. You can give them crayons, you can give them all kinds of things to just scribble on a newspaper. Let the hand move whichever way it wants so that you get your fine motor skills and the movements. Formal writing, formation of ABCD only after 5.5. You see, in India also we have a equivalent study which was done thousands of years ago. Just recently, we went past this Durga Puja and our Dashara. You have a day called as Vijaya Dashami. In South, we also have Vijaya Dashami as the Saraswati Puja. In other parts of our country, we have Guru Purnima and Saraswati Puja during different times. But the whole significance of this is you have a practice in South India. I don't know about North and West, you can update me. It is called as Aksharabhyasam. Akshar Abhyas. So in our country, what they did was, when the child was about 5.5, they took them to the temple, a priest would be there, and then initiate them into education. You had a tray in which rice was filled, and you would hold the child's hand and finger and write your mother tongue, your letters, and form it on the rice tablet to start the Akshar Abhyas. And when I spoke to a lot of learned people and saw certain kind of scriptures, it says that in our own country, they had found that by the time the child is 5.5 to 6, the brain development, the maturity of the child is apt and right to absorb information, to assimilate information, process it, and apply it. That is the right age. We are trying to do things too soon, and so many people become quarter-baked, and then they get confused, and they become, absolutely, as you said, when you said cursive and some joint and unjoint, na idhar na udhar, right? You got to be well-groomed and well-formed. So, you understand now it's about the system. Now, I see Tasmia writing down something. How to hold the pencil or the pen is a very important thing. Okay, now I'll show you. According to your hand size, your palm size, your finger length, thickness of your fingers, you need to select your pen. Nobody does that. One size fits all, one standard size, and many people use the most dangerous form of writing instrument called as the ball pen and gel pen. Today it is all ball pen and gel pen. You need to use what is called as a fountain pen. Today, even the shopkeepers, I am ashamed to say, they call it ink pen. Ink pen, ink pen. I wonder what flows in the other ball pen and gel pen. Rasam, sambar and something else, is it? There also the ink is flowing. So this is a fountain pen, and once a good fountain pen is manufactured with a nice nib, with a smooth tip, and a flow of ink is properly, regulated, it's like a buttery feel when you write. It's so smooth. Writing is a pleasure, but we have made writing as a pressure today by giving them all kinds of wrong things and letting them follow the wrong things. A good fountain pen will allow you to enjoy the process of writing. And how to hold the pen? You must hold the pen between your thumb and forefinger like this. Your middle finger should support the shaft. And look at my forefinger, how it is bent. This is how it should be. Don't press like this. Some people hold it with 3 fingers. Some people hold it with all the fingers. Why? Because the shaft is very thin. There is no space to hold it. The mind says it is going to fall off. It is so thin. So they clutch it with all the fingers like this. And they hold it too close also. And they will write like this. See, you need to observe all that. First, you need to observe every movement of the hand when the child writes. And what is the speed at which you're supposed to write? That's a very interesting question that I need to ask. And you two should answer. Everybody says you must write. You must write fast. How fast? Amoga is in 10th standard. They'll say, oh, 10th examination, public exam. Oh, you must write a lot. How much to write? How long is the examination? How many hours? I can't hear you. How many hours of examination? 3 hours.
3 hours.
In 3 hours, how 3.5 now, is it? Oh, it's increased. How much can you write in 3.5 hours? Everybody is telling you, write, write, write. And they'll tell you, write a lot. Write fast. How fast? I want to ask. I have fun when I go to all schools, colleges, and universities across the globe. How fast do you expect the children to write? Ah, Krutika, how fast? Come on. Sakshi Nagaraj, how fast? Harshita, how fast? Amoga, how fast? Tasmia, how fast should you write? The teachers, how fast should they write? Tell me, please tell me.
And at
People
least
say fast.
30 lines in 4 minutes.
Pardon? How many?
30 lines in 4 minutes at least. 30 lines
30
in 4
lines.
minutes.
4 minutes. 30 lines. But are you competing with the computer printer? You're a human being or you're a computer, you say? Are you a machine or a human being? You see, it's a simple thing. All over the world, people have failed to answer this question. What is the speed at which you are expected to write? I taught MBAs, I taught so many other subjects to MBAs, MCOM, BComs, and I had a lot of fight with all the university vice chancellors and my friends who were teaching. When I set a question paper, if it's a 3-hour exam, I should be able to complete it in 2.5 hours. Because in a 3-hour, 3.5-hour examination, half an hour is lost in reading your question paper, collecting your thoughts, and then writing. While you're writing, normally you will find some of them having satellite link will be lost. They'll be looking around. Some people get a link from the next station, right? Or some people will be wondering, what happened? Blackout. Then I don't know, from somewhere, when there is last half an hour, suddenly the links come and then start writing fast. Come on, half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, come on, write as much as possible. And what is happening? I see only waves and threads in the paper. And then the teachers will tell me, Ayo, I can't correct this answer scripts, man. Such a boring bloody thing. I don't understand a word what they've written. Who created all this? We told them write fast, write as much as possible. What is this purpose of examination? Why should we have an examination? Right? To see whether the student has understood the subject. Not to find out whether we can get another author to write a textbook in that subject, isn't it? In 3.5 hours, you're trying to ask them to reproduce whole textbook. I'll tell you now what's the speed at which a grown-up individual can write. Okay, Amog is in 10th standard and others are grown up. The speed at which we can write is 18 to 20 words a minute, because your words will be of 2 letters, single letter, 2 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters, 6 letters. It's a mixture in a sentence. So, number of words is about 18 to 23 words is your bandwidth. With clarity. This is what I found by research. Now, why are we not telling this to children? When you say, how do you go from Parikrama Jayanagar to Parikrama? Oh, I understand it's in Sakar Nagar. How far is it? Jayanagar to Sakar Nagar. 16-20 kilometers. So how long? It will take about 1 hour. At what speed? If you travel at 40 kilometers per hour, all that you will say. In traffic, you will travel at 20 kilometers per hour. It will take longer. So there you specify now how many kilometers per hour. Here, why we are not specifying how many words per minute? I have further done research of how many letters per minute. Legible letters per minute. This is where legibility goes away. The definition of handwriting is a visual expression of speech and a means by which we set down messages we want to communicate. So somebody said, so how should it be? Good. Oh, good means what? How is it good? Good handwriting is uniform in size. It is legible, no scratching, no overwriting, no malformation. Okay? And each letter is formed properly so that it can be identified as that letter. Sometimes when people write, when they write my dear, it looks like my clear. Because that lowercase d has opened up. You write a H and it looks like N. You write a G and it looks like Y. See how many malformations happen. And please be more what you call tolerant with children who have come from a local language schooling. when they come from Indian languages, they write the Indian language in 2 lines. English is written in 4 lines. And in Indian languages, most of them are clockwise in movement, except for Telugu and Kannada, which have anti-clockwise movements. And in India, we say everything has to be goal, goal, round, round, gundu, gundu. Whereas English is oval. You see, the shape, the movements are all different. How do you expect them to write properly? We don't have ascenders and descenders nor capital letters in local language. In English, you have ascenders, descenders, capital. So it's a big confusion. You need to introduce them to it properly so that they understand it properly and form the letters beautifully. I hope it's got something to do with both the students as well as the teachers. For teachers also, it is a lot of learning because your own children need to be guided properly. Now you understand why there is an aversion, why people say, I don't want to write. Make it more pleasurable and more interesting. Okay? So come the examination, if you write to the point and write beautifully, you will get enough marks. In fact, you may get sometimes one person was correcting gave 124 out of 100 because he went on giving extra marks for beautiful handwriting. When he calculated, it came to 124. How can I give 124 out of 100? Right? So that is the power of handwriting. If you write beautifully, it melts their heart. Right? Your Bhaskarana will tell me when correcting answer scripts, when you get a beautiful answer script, you say, wow, look at this candidate, how beautiful. People who are correcting along with us will say, hey, give another 5 marks, give another 10 marks, because you feel so happy and nice. A thing of beauty is joy forever. Right? So it attracts marks. That is why I call it power handwriting. I've had a lot of experiences around the globe where I called it power handwriting because the Indian government allowed me to write my own passport. And whenever I applied for visas to go to various countries, they gave me visas without questioning, and they were so happy welcoming me into the countries. 4 countries are now giving me citizenship to go and settle down in their country. That's the power of handwriting, you see. You have it within you. You have the power within you. If you can really appreciate, look how beautifully you write, how lovely. Wouldn't you like to listen to that every day? If 10 people say, what a lovely handwriting you have, how beautiful you write. You see? Don't you feel nice? Wouldn't you like to get that compliment every day? But you'll have to work for it. You'll have to put in effort. It doesn't come easy. So there are certain ways of constructing a letter, going part by part, and then when you learn it the right way, your writing settles down beautifully. And you write between 18 and 23 words, you will have adorable handwriting, which can have the power to not only attract marks, but then later when you grow up, it will get you jobs. It can get you a lot of things. Right? And you will not get remarks. You must improve your handwriting. Okay? And when you come to the museum, I can give you more insights because on this digital medium, I can't demonstrate things properly. It won't be right. When you see it live, that is when you will understand that. So you will come to the museum one or the other day, and you will see the different kinds of quills, nibs, inks, inkwells, fountain pens, all kinds of things, and how they improve your handwriting. And then you can later decide what kind of a pen to buy according to your hand size. It's all like buying your footwear. How do you buy your footwear, chappals? You go to the shop and say, give me a pair of chappals. Anything he gives you, will wear it and go, is it? What do you do?
No. We'll check the size.
What do you do? Check the size.
Which
Very good.
fits to us, Anna.
You'll check
The size which will fit to our footwear.
Which will suit your foot. 6 or 7 or 8. Then they go into greater details. Do you have an arch there? If the arch is there, what kind of a sole should be there? And then your foot, how much of a bulge is there on your foot? According to that also they make shoes to make it more comfortable. So for a foot you are giving so much importance. What about the hand? When you have to hold a pen. Shouldn't it also be very comfortable to hold so that you can guide it beautifully to write? So I will tell you how to select and do that when you come to the museum. It will become more meaningful. When you experience it, you will understand it better. Right? I am reminded of the old ad. I don't know, youngsters may not have seen that, but some of the older people would recall. In 80s, we had a chocolate called Melody. I don't know if you still get it. Melody chocolatey. And the tagline was Melody khao, khud jaan jao.
Khud jaan jao.
So you experience it, you hold it, write it and see, then khud jaan jayenge. Right? Jab idhar aayenge to khud jaan jayenge. All right. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask me, because time given was 1 hour. I need to touch upon a few more things. So if you have any questions at this stage about handwriting issues or problems, you can ask me. I'll deal with 1 or 2 questions and go forward. Yes.
So, I mean, having heard, like, I mean, we never thought of, the negative impact that four rule has, I mean, it's across all schools. Like, we always insist on 4 rule, beginning, the children beginning to write with 4 rule. And while you were saying, we realized it's not only 4 rule. The children have to learn Kannada in 2 rule. English, they're learning in single rule, and the 4 rule. So it's like 3, different kinds of, lines where they have to learn how to write.
We need to give them clarity. I tell this all to teachers. The best way to do it is with youngsters. You need to play a game with them. Before you teach them handwriting, you need to introduce them to the world of letters, which we call as the anatomy of letters.
Right.
All parents who have children, and all children also will remember, at some stage, you were so excited when you ask the child, where are your eyes? Arey, mera beta ko malum hai, eyes dikhata hai, ears, nose, right? And then fan kidhar hai? Oh, baby knows where the fan is. And you're so excited. So, similarly, when the children know all this, you can say head, neck, shoulder, body, limbs. Okay. Somebody says hand means how only this. When you say hands up, people actually do that. They put their arms up. And your hind limbs are legs. So let's try to give a identification of the English letter with your own body. So now please imagine visually, lowercase letters A to Z. If you see, A has only a body which is from shoulder to base, which is between the 2 lines in the center. B has an extended arm. D has an extended arm. Right? GJPQ have got legs. So, the body height, how much it should be. What is the body of the letter? What should be the width? Then arms and legs. And then T and F are not so tall as your BDHKL. T and F has got a head and body and 2 arms outstretched, so that you know how to cross it properly. Uncrossed T looks like an L. Let us understand the structure in an easy manner. Why are we complicating it? So children would know, what has A got? A has a body, B has a body and an arm outstretched, C has a body, D has a body and an arm outstretched, E has a body, but it has got divided into 2 spaces. F has a body and a head and 2 arms outstretched. Like that, if you teach them, and if they are able to visualize that structure, they can never go wrong in creating that structure, because you are identifying it with your own body. Now you see ABCD, what are the parts? We don't know. And then within that you have families, right? You look at A, D, E, Q, we'll say normal family. L, I, J, thin family. M, motor family. W, wide family. Look at that. It's so beautifully falling in place. M to Indian motor ho gaya, W to English wide ho gaya. Both are same. Wait. What W ko, if you crush it, it look horrible. And L ko, thin family ko itna bada loop deki, itna oblong bana diya, to it looks horrible. See, that is where malformation happens. If you know the family of letters, you can see that they belong to that family only. Thin family ko mota family mat banao, mota ko chota mat banao, or patla mat banao. See, this is the way we can play a beautiful game with children to give them an orientation with the letters and their body. Now tell me, Amoga, Tasmia, all of you who are listening to this, now can you relate your body with the letters? And you see in your own classroom, there is somebody fat, somebody short, somebody tall, somebody thin, somebody normal. Make fun, na? Hey, Motu, hey, Chotu, hey, Kaddi. Right? So you can go about like that. Kaddi letters, mota letters. There should be some fun. Otherwise, it's so boring about ABCD, isn't it? इतना boring बना देता है. Now is it interesting? And all capital letters are of the same size. All capitals. Right? They are written between baseline and, actually speaking, slightly lesser height than the ascender line. There's another imaginary line called as the capital line. So we will divide those 4 lines into some more to see that the capitals are restricted at a height slightly lesser than the ascender, and there is a line for the T and F which has got a head and body. Right? Some of you who are visual would already be imagining the letters in your body, how your letters will fit in your body, isn't it? So this is how we need to orient them so that they'll never forget the shapes of the letters. And if you take all local languages, all of them have only body. And those matras jo hai, wo chota matra hota hai. It's not very what you call long or not so strong as in English. It's just another, like, you know, body and head may ek hair clip. Something like that, right? Or you have a pocket, or you are hanging something like a mobile phone. Like that, you can improvise and teach them in your local languages. And there are only 2 lines. There are no capitals at all in local languages. Let's give them clarity. Today, a lot of confusion exists. You teach 2 languages or 3 languages, and then you confuse them with 2 lines, 4 lines, ye, wo, vagera, vagera. And those lines also that they print, they don't print it with the proper spacing. That is where the problem is. And everything is written from left to right in all Indian languages in English. It's only Urdu, Arabic, and the Middle Eastern languages which goes from right to left. And it's only Japanese, Chinese, they write from top to bottom. Or sometimes it can go like that. So handwriting, I went to the market, everything is going top to bottom, what I've seen. You don't write horizontally, then you become Japanese. So let's give greater clarity. A thing of beauty is joy forever, as I said. And my search from A to Z literally took me from A, America, to Z, New Zealand, all over the world. That's the power of writing. Okay. Now, what do? Once you have a beautiful handwriting, your presentation skills improve. It has a rub off because you're looking at proportions, you're looking at symmetry, you're looking at beauty, your dressing, your presentation skills also improve along with that. Because if you get hooked onto appreciation coming to you every day, it is very addictive. You can't live without it. It's like, you know, craving for chocolates. You will get more brownies. Wow, beautiful, lovely. So every day you want more and more of that. So you will start writing more beautifully. Aur bhi chahiye. Ye dil mange more. Ye dil mange more. Right? Yes, dear children, what do you feel? My dear young fellow travelers. Ye dil mange more? Ya nahi? You want to have a good handwriting?
Yes,
And
sir.
you want to get the power of handwriting?
Yes, sir.
Even today in the electronic world, when people are saying, oh, everything is digital, no need of handwriting, it's not right. Because when you go digital completely and you over usage of your texting, phones and all that, your finger digits are all becoming useless. They're becoming worn out. You're getting finger arthritis. There is something called as RSI when you use too much of your keyboard, called as repetitive strain injury. There is carpal tunnel syndrome when you use the mouse for a long time. Then you have crystal formation in the shoulders. You have eye problems. You have 101 problems by overusage of the digital medium. Use it only when required. Don't overuse it. So now everybody said they'll stop writing. In America, they stopped handwriting in schools for 10 years. Then what happened? 10 years, children were only using those tablets, all electronic, paperless office. We are going paperless. Then they found all these children could not speak properly, write properly, because they lost their cognitive skills, which went away with the practice of writing being stopped. And then their vocabulary shrunk. Their ability to express shrunk. Their memory shrunk. Everything.
Spellings
book.
too.
That's
Spellings.
where. No, not spelling. Now today I call it spelling mistake. One letter fell off somewhere. They don't have spelling mistakes. It's only spills off. Or it goes to other place. It changes places. Spelling mistake happens. No practice of writing. You see, I'm reminded of the old adage. Reading today, how much do they read? They want to read in shorts. Everything in short form. In shorts, in shorts. Nothing they understand in shorts. Reading books is the best. I may be called old-fashioned, but no. Reading makes you a ready person with all that knowledge. You need to know something of everything and everything of a thing to be a specialist, but you must be a generalist first. So reading makes you a ready person. Writing makes you an exact person because you have to think before you write, and exactly you have to write what you want to convey. And you will be searching for the right words to convey, choice of words. That's where your vocabulary is important. And in schools, they used to teach what is called as Prezi writing. Today, nobody knows Prezi. What Prezi? Precise, to the point. That Prezi writing is important. Reading makes you a ready person. Writing makes you a exact person. And conversation makes you a complete person. Now, that's what is missing with the gadgets. Reading in shorts, writing, typing, speaking also. Alexa, what is this? Alexa will talk for you. Right? So you're becoming over dependent on these gadgets. If these gadgets fail, you got to read out, you got to write, you got to speak. Whatever be the development in the world, from bullock cart age to jet age, you still have to walk. You'll have to walk and climb into an aircraft, right? Only if you're invalid, you will be taken in a wheelchair. You got to speak even if Alexa is there. And you got to write. That is why a lot of phone companies today have got a stylus in the phone to write. They have brought in a handwriting recognition engine. The iPad Note 9 has got a stylus with which you can write. They call it the pencil. So what has happened is, from the scratching of the pictures on the cave walls in Sumeria to the Mesopotamian civilization where they wrote on clay tablets with cuneiform in bamboo reeds, to the papyrus and the quill, to the steel nibs, to the fountain pen, to the electronic age. What has changed is only the surface on which we write and the instrument we use to write. From Stone Age, we have come a long way. We have come to an electronic tablet and electronic balapam, or an electronic stylus, electronic pencil. So what has not changed? The act of writing has not changed. It will never change. All youngsters, keep this in mind. Many of your friends will say, what man writing? I have got latest iPhone. I have got this phone, that phone. I got computer. I got computer. I type it, it will do. I speak, it will do. What will it do? There is something called as artificial intelligence, which will confuse you with your spellings. It will confuse you with your grammar. You say something, that will give you something else. It will restructure your sentences. Right? So have your personal power. You are a human being. Every one of you is born with so many innumerable abilities and talents. You are like Leonardo da Vinci. Many of you have got artistic abilities. Many of you have got so many other abilities. You need to tap into it. You need to find out who you are, and what you have within you by birth, by nature, what you like to do. Some of you, when you are asked not to study and given holidays and say, we won't give you anything in academic, what do you like to do? You like to play. Some like to paint. You like to sing. You like to dance. You like to do some rangoli. Many things you like to do. You like to organize your books in order, keep it in A to Z or subject wise, or you collect friends and say, let's go on a picnic. And then somebody says, oh, where to go? Oh, which is the destination? Where to go for picnic? How to go? How much does it cost? What should you carry? So you are a person who organizes things. You are good in organizing. And you are collecting all your friends. You talk to them. You are good in PR. See how many good things you have within you. So you need to find out what are their abilities. Or if there are 20 people, one of them will say, okay, I will organize everything, I'll take care of it. So you've got leadership qualities. There is so much within you that you can find out right from this 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th standard with whatever you are indulging in your day-to-day life. Then once you know more about who you are, what you are, and you also like to do certain things. How many of you find it interesting to keep on reading a textbook? How long can you read your textbook?
Try.
Huh? Try. पढ़ाई करने में टेक्स्ट बुक रख के पढ़ते 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 अरे यार ये कितना हेवी हो रहा है, कितना बोरिंग हो रहा है, अरे यार बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ लिया. आफ्टर 2-3 पेजेस एंड यू सी द क्लॉक, 5 मिनट ही गया है. अरे व्हाई इज द टाइम गोइंग सो स्लोली यार? ये बहुत हॉरिबल यार. 5 minutes only यार, still 1 more hour I have to study. Same thing, you read a comic or you watch an interesting movie. अरे 3 hours gone by, we didn't even know how it went away. So I'm giving you an example for you to identify what you like to do, what you do not like to do. If you don't like to do something, 5 minutes will look like 1 hour. If you like to do something, 3 hours will look like 5 minutes. अरे इतना जल्दी चला गया, और एक बार, once more we want to do that. So like that you may have a lot of things that you are experiencing now. What you like to do. Please don't tell me I like to sleep. This is one thing somebody says. What do you like to do? I like to sleep. How long can you sleep? So don't tell me those kind of answers. Whatever creative work, whatever that is going to develop you and make you better, those kind of activities you have to list down, because you know what you like and what you don't like. It's just like when you're given food in the morning, you like some kind of breakfast. Sometimes if they give you something, no, that is, I don't like to eat that. You say that, na? अरे lunch के लिए क्या है यार? अरे boring lunch यार. See, everybody has their choices. Something else which you like, if they give, your eyes become big first. And you get the smell, wow. Then you salivate and say, wow, good lunch, good food. You just like that. So many things are there which you enjoy. Not only just food. I'm just giving you an example to relate to it. So write down, what is it that you like? What is it that you love to do? From morning to evening, what keeps you happy? Some people don't get tired. They'll say, I like to do the 24/7. So that is your passion. Find out what is your passion. And if that passion can lead to something interesting, then you can make it as a vocation. A vocation is when you can start earning out of it. And when you become very good at it, you will become a professional. Today you must study a lot to know a little. And your degrees are there, but still there are people who have their natural abilities. Cicero said, natural ability without education has risen a man to glory and virtue than education without natural ability. I'm not saying you only follow your natural ability and don't have education. No, don't get me wrong. Your education is there. Only education does not allow you to grow. You must add the natural abilities and then make it a deadly combination. Then you become fantastic. Only studying, mugging up, vomiting in exams. I got 1 degree. I got this thing. I got 90 marks. Okay, right. Let's sit and talk. What did you study? What do you understand? What do you mean? That was 2 years ago. I studied in each standard. Why are you asking me? I already passed each standard. Sorry. Now, many people in degree colleges, when I go to teach MBA in 4th semester, when I talk to them something, they said, what is that? Arey, you come to your second year, you're in 4th semester. I asked some people, have you read Abraham Maslow's needs theory? Who is that Abraham? Arey Baba, Abraham Maslow's needs theory. Then one boy will tell me, I heard somewhere. Okay, at least you heard. I'm happy. And then in 1st semester, they must have taught you the needs theory. Oh, why are you asking now? I finished 1st semester already. No, I have got connection to that in the 4th semester, whatever subject I'm teaching. Only if you have understood Abraham Maslow's needs theory, I can teach you this subject. So children are now getting compartmentalized. If that, I have finished exams, I forget it. Why did you study it? For what did you study? Where can I use it? That should be your approach when you study. Understand what you're studying, to apply it, to use it. Otherwise, it becomes useless. If you tell me I have got a degree, I have got first class, I have got gold medal, after that, what you do is important. What you perform after that will give respect and dignity to the certificate you got. Otherwise, the certificate will say, I am feeling ashamed. I am feeling ashamed. I'm sorry. Because if you don't perform, that certificate will be waste. If you don't work according to what the certificate says, if you do not perform, it is a waste. Today we have many people who have got paper qualifications. And when we talk to them and when we interact with them, you know, the marks, all 90 plus, fantastic. Oh, distinction, gold medal. Acha, बैठ के बात करेंगे. बात करने से, you are a tiger, man, according to your qualification. And when you ask questions and all that, the tiger has to roar, but I only listen to meow, 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 meow. Hey, where is this tiger, man? You're only meow, 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 meow. So you're a paper tiger, not real tiger, huh? All of you should become real tigers and roar with your knowledge and information. Right? Don't become meow, meow tiger. I'm sorry. You all will become roaring tigers with information and knowledge. And any question asked, you should be able to explain clearly, bit by bit, part by part, and how to do it. That should be the way that you should go, and you should ask questions in classroom. You should ask clarification. You should ask a lot of why. Why is this happening like this? What makes this happen like this? Let me get clarity. Let me understand. Please try to understand when you read something. Don't just simply read and then examination point of view. Miss, teacher. What is important question? What is important question? Mug up, vomit, come back. No, please don't do that. If you take a book, read the whole book. How many of you know the author of the book? Till now, whatever books you have read. You ask the author's name, somebody. How many of you know, remember the author of the book? Your textbooks, can you tell me who is the author? What is this person? Written all boring things, and they brought it into my syllabus. I have to study this. Ayyo. When is this year going to get over? What a boring subject. See, they're all smiling and laughing. Oh, when will I get over it? So, teachers should make it interesting and make every subject interesting. You need to improvise the way in which you present it to the children to understand. Right? Please, I appeal to all the teachers. Make every subject as interesting as possible to them. Encourage more questions so that they have clarity, and also tell them where it can be used in their life. How you are using them as a teacher in your life. If you don't do that, then they won't be inspired. India needs good teachers. So I appeal to all the young children here. I want you all to become good teachers in the future, because we need good teachers. Enough of doctors, engineers and all that. We have a lot of dearth for good teachers. So how many of you will become good teachers? Very good. And you know what is the first qualification? How many of you have been called, you are a chatterbox, I say. Always you are talking. Very good. Chatterboxism is important. You need not get tired talking. If you can talk for 6 hours without getting tired, that's the first qualification to become teacher. You fill your hard disk with full of knowledge, you can go on talking for 6 hours. Some people will say after 1 hour, my throat is going dry, I want water. Quick. No. You must be able to speak. And how many of you like to act? Dramatics? Yeah, Amoga. Teaching is drama. You must do drama in class. Right? You must enact it. That's when it becomes interesting. Isn't it? Somebody comes and says, today I am going to teach you law of conservation of energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy is, something which is omnipresent all over the world. Energy can transform from one form to another form without any gain or loss. If somebody says that, how is it? Boring, na? Energy! Wow! What's energy? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy is omnipresent everywhere. When somebody comes and says that in class, how do you feel? Right? You need to make it dramatic in class. Unless you have drama in class, it won't be interesting. I appeal to all teachers. You need to be a good dramatist in class or any subject. The students will look forward. Arey, this teacher's class, next class, arey, I'm not going to go away. When is this teacher coming? They will wait for you. Teaching is interesting. We have to teach ourselves and try to improvise to see how beautiful it can become. I mean, a lot of people are raising hands. I'm so happy. Come on, come on. Let me now interact with you. Abu Bakr Siddiq has raised the hand, and then so many people have raised the hand. Right, I can interact with you. Come on, yes. Abu Bakr Siddiq Kalandar. Yes, ask the question.
No, I raised the hand for you told that one for who like to do dramas. That too, I forgot to put this only to off the hand raise button.
Oh, you forgot to switch off. No problem. Anybody else? I love questions. You must ask more questions to me.
Anna, I have one question, Anna. Some children, no, they use both the hands to write. So will it spoil their handwriting, Anna?
It will not spoil. We human beings are ambidextrous. Both hands can be used. It's only the culture which says right hand is superior, left hand is inferior. Nothing like that. Both hands are superior. Both hands are used. When you pray to God, what do? You put both hands together, na? Right? Namaskar is both hands together. You don't do it only like this, isn't it? This is superior. Left-handers are, if they are naturally writing with left hand, they are right brain dominants. So don't stop them and ask them to write in right hand. If they are natural left-handers, allow them to write in left hand. For left hand, there's a different way of holding the pen and writing because they can't see what they're writing. There are special instructions given to left-handers. Do you have any left-handers in class?
No, no, I have my son. No, he is writing in both the hands. Sometimes he will, but
no problem.
Okay.
See, people who write in both the hands are ambidextrous. Okay. When you drive the car, you have to hold the steering with both hands. When you drive a bike, you must hold the what do you call? The handlebar with both hands. Right? So there is nothing wrong. Perfectly all right, perfectly normal. Yes. Any more questions?
Yes, sir.
You see, this subject is so vast, I can speak for 3 full days. Because we have just 1 hour.
Anna, some people will write in right and left, so that a person who is writing in left hand, so they will. Some people will say they have a lot of brain, they are intelligent, and who doesn't have hands, so that they'll try to write in left, Anna.
Correct, you are right. Left-handers are dominated by right brain. Right brain is the side which is actually creative brain. That's why they say they are intelligent. And people who don't have hands, some of them write with their foot also. It's a necessity, it's a need. So somebody develops that ability to write, holding a pencil or a pen between the toes and then moving it to create those shapes. It's all nothing but training and practicing. Again, that brings me to a very interesting thing. Practice makes you perfect, somebody says. But then, practicing the right things in the right direction will perfect you in a right way. But if you practice your mistakes again and again, like in a copywriting book, you are only going to perfect your mistake into a perfect mistake. That's what happened in copywriting. That's why they're saying you're practicing, but no improvement. Because you're practicing all the mistakes again and again. So any more of practice you do in anything, understand and ask what is the right way of doing it. Okay? To give you an example, if you have to go from Bangalore to Chennai, if you start driving or walking towards west, you will go reach only Bangalore. You will not reach Chennai. So you must go in the right direction. I am running fast, I am going efficiently, but you are not going in the right direction. So practice in the right direction. Okay?
Yes, Tasmia, you have a question?
Yes, Anna.
Hmm.
Anna, when Helen Keller was blind and she could not do anything, no, Anna. For blinds, we started that new language of the dots, Anna, identifying and
Braille.
connecting the dots by touching them, Anna. So when we use them in kindergartens, no, Anna, like to make the children identify the shape of the letters, no, Anna, is that still important to do, or the writing part is more efficient to learn more, Anna?
You can do both. Braille is interesting. Sensory touch to feel it, to feel the shape. You can go through Braille also. You can, if you understand Braille, it's better. You also will understand how the blind people read. Knowing more is always good. And then you start writing.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
Anna.
blind people cannot write because they can't see. So they have got a language for them called as Braille, which are all raised like dots. You feel those things and you see the you feel the shape and you can read it. But you're lucky, you're not blind, isn't it?
Yes, Anna.
Soumya,
Anna, they say if we don't have a good handwriting, but they have a creative mind. Is it true, Anna?
See, if your thinking is very fast, if you are not able to control your thoughts, if you are not able to hold your thoughts, that is when you are trying to match the speed of your thoughts with your writing. That's where the handwriting goes bad. But you should know how to control your thoughts, hold your thoughts, and then write properly so that what you write will remain forever. Anything you write is forever. Handwriting is forever. Once you write it, it is there forever. Go to the museums. Thousands of years ago, people have written on palm leaves. They have written on paper hundreds of years ago. They are still there.
okay, Pooja. Okay, yes, Maneka.
Still some children, no, they have this mirror writing habit, so I'm handling primary. So
Okay.
why, Anna? Is it the way they
Okay.
see it, or it is a practice of writing?
Good question. Good question. See, many of us are not born with the same kind of mental abilities. Some of us are born with something inherent as a problem, which is dyslexia, dysgraphia. There are so many issues like that. So when you have dyslexia, when you have certain problems in the brain, you see a shape like A, or the best thing for mirroring is if you write B, they will write it as D. If you show D, they'll write it like B. Because when that letter goes through your eyes, the scanner, and it gets stored in your brain, which is your hard disk, it flips. Now, there's also one more case where if you write D, a D will flip like a B, and it will also do a somersault and look like a P. If you write D on the board, the child will write P. So it is a problem in the brain, the way the image is processed and how it flips and flops. If there's a flip, D becomes B. If there's a flip to B and a flop, it becomes P. It is a problem with quite a lot of children, and some of them, if their spellings are not okay, if their numbers they're not writing properly, and they have problems in calculation, you need to take them to a place where they do the tests, like in Spastic Society, or there are special schools, there are special educators to find out whether it's a case of dyslexia, which is called as learning disability. There are many people like that. If you notice that, there is nothing wrong in doing a test to confirm. Once it is confirmed, there's a different way of dealing with them. You need to be more empathetic with them, and you need to understand that they cannot get the spellings right, they cannot calculate properly, but they can do very good orally. They can speak very well. Two fine examples of people who have dyslexia and they have become great leaders of their countries. They led their country was Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of Britain, and Bill Clinton, the former president of America. They both were excellent public speakers, and they were paid unbelievable amount of money for 1 hour. You want to book them for 1 hour for a speech, you had to spend unbelievable amount of money. Some of our bank accounts would have got emptied. That's the kind of money they were getting for speaking. That's the ability they had. So now what you need to do is, since you asked this question, every child is like Leonardo da Vinci. Every child is great with so many abilities. As teachers, you need to find out what are those abilities they have. Nurture it, polish it, and you never know. You're going to get another great intelligent person in this world. Everybody is intelligent in one way or the other. Shape them. Teachers, you are the shapers of the nation. You are the shapers of future. So we are getting children who are like clay, and that clay has got just not clay. It has got a lot of diamonds. It's got gold. It's got silver. It's got everything. It's earth, which has all those wonderful elements in that of metals and stones. It's for us to find out what metal, what stone is there, pick it up and polish it. It's every teacher's duty to do that. Good. See, if you ask questions, a lot will come out. You need to ask questions.
I think Srushti also had a question.
Yes, Srushti.
Now she's not there.
Okay.
Anna,
Yes.
it was not question, Anna. It
Okay.
was, I was asking Anna to show his handwriting. That's all. Anna.
My handwriting you
Oh.
want to see. Okay. I will show you my handwriting. Hold on. I don't have it here. I'll
But
just get it.
Master, I can show them your handwriting.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you come to
Okay,
the
Sada.
museum, you can see.
Okay.
Pardon?
So I'll just no, it's okay. I'll just share the screen and show Janardhan Anna's handwriting. Okay. And then Kalpana, you have a question. I know. Yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, you can ask, no, Kalpana.
So my question
Anna,
was,
Yes. Yes.
go ahead, Sri.
We'll
Go
come
ahead.
to you. We'll come to you.
Okay, so my question was, what then happens to handwriting analysis? If you are trained
You
to
see-
write properly, if you're trained to write correctly,
Yeah.
then where does the whole system of handwriting analysis stand?
They'll go for a toss. Because all these handwriting analysts have been going about analyzing your cursive writing. You give them italic, they can't find a damn. They'll say
Yeah,
everything's
right.
perfect.
Hmm, hmm,
So handwriting analysis is a branch of study where, they try to find out what's your state of mind first.
hmm.
How you have written, how is your state of mind, were you agitated, were you calm, cool and collected? First we know the state of mind. Then by the shape of letters, the size of letters and placement of letters, you try to find out whether this person likes space or doesn't like space. So then they'll say, if you have more space, you are a person who likes all the best things in life, opulent things, you want to be rich and all that. If you have less space, they say you are a miser, or you try to, economize things like that. So by looking at the way you have formed your letters, placed your letters and words, and the space that you're given, and certain strokes where you have increased the size or given more pressure, it's an observed science where they try to indicate about 60 to 70% of your character.
Okay. Right.
So it's not 100% right science. It is like astrology, gemology, numerology.
Okay.
If you get into the belief system, yes, you are affected by it.
Right.
If
right.
you don't believe in it and you take it with a pinch of salt, it's just like a time pass.
Okay.
Now there is graphotherapy. They say, look, if you have any medical ailment, we will cure you with your graphotherapy. If you are poor, we'll make you rich. I want 10-year study of who was poor and how you could make them rich by giving these strokes. So give me proof. Somebody says there was a person with a hole in the heart. I gave them some strokes and that hole got closed. Somebody says they had some other problem and they practiced handwriting and their kidneys were all right. Now, I want a 10-year study. They said somebody was a drug addict and then I gave them these strokes and we got them from, they de-addicted. I said, please show me. Please show me how you did it. What was the intervention? What was the drug dependence? Then what was the medicines you gave? Then how they weaned off? Then after 5 years, when you say they were cured, if I went and enticed them with the drug, did they say no or did they succumb to it? All this study should be there. See, many people will talk without proof.
Right.
They will say because they believe in it. See, it's a belief system and a support system for people who have low self-confidence. They don't have self-assurance, and their confidence has been shattered by somebody, and they think they are failures in life. They are the ones who need these ologies to hold on, and it has a placebo effect.
Right.
See, we can say this is the character, fine, but then I'll change your character, I'll change your future. All that is actually yet to be proved.
Right. Right, sir. Thank you.
See, everybody will talk about success, but then success is defined in many ways. That's where people succumb to it, no?
True.
So you take it with a pinch of salt. If something works for you, fine. If it doesn't work for you, you ask rational questions. Don't be emotionally carried away by this graphology, graphonomy, and graphotherapy. If we had time, I would have gone into all those details of 7 elements. But then I thought, let me interact with children, make it more interesting, and what is practical for them. That is 7 elements. When you come to the museum, we can always talk about it.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
So, can you see the handwriting?
Yes, Anna.
This is Janardhan Anna's autograph written for me, because I had visited his museum, and he was so kind to show me around his museum. And then at the end, I insisted, like Srushti, I want your handwriting as an autograph. Yeah. See, and this is again another.
This is the copperplate style, which they used to write in England in the 16th century. You have to write it with a dip and write nib. See, I'm sorry that I could not show it because I'm still learning how to do it digitally. I don't know how to share all this. Otherwise, I could have shared all this with you.
Okay.
So I'm really thankful to your Bhaskar Anna. This is copperplate writing, which is written with a dip and write nib. And you have to dip and write, and then it will dry up within few letters. Again, dip and write. You must have a lot of patience. From this style only, we got cursive. This is copperplate, the original of cursive. And there are so many variants called as Spencerian, Zenarian. There is something called as the humanistic hand. There's also something called as the secretary's hand, the business writing hand. There are variants of this, all joint style of writing. But this is done very slowly and carefully. You can't write more than 4 words or 5 words in a minute.
Okay.
If you write fast, then it will go bad.
Jana Anna, you can also share with the students that recently in I think the Mysore royal family's wedding, you you wrote the invitation card.
It was actually a client of mine who was going to have a wedding happening, and they said, we want to make it very different. They were from Udupi, and I still write with a quill where I dip and write, dipping and writing with a lot of patience, and written on a parchment with that proper burgundy ink, which looks like the old times. So I have done it for many people. This time they said, we want something different. And then I said, okay, how do you want it? No, we also want to make it into e-invite. Okay. So I sat down to write, and they said it should look like it is from the, the Mysore Maharaja's royal family. So I was wearing a peta and typical Mysore attire, and then sitting and writing. And I have an inkwell from the royal family, which is made of what is called, they call as Panchaloha. It's got a elephant face and head. So dip into that and write. And that was filmed. It was filmed, and it was actually edited to 30 seconds, half minutes totally. And that was sent as an invitation. That was, I think I sent it on WhatsApp. I don't know, I should ask your Bhaskar and if he has got it on his WhatsApp to play it. How to play it, I don't know. How to share on this, I don't know.
No.
He has got, he can
okay,
share
Yes, yes.
I have it also on my screen, but I don't know how to share it or how you are doing it. If you can guide me, I will do that. How to play it and how it will come on the screen, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. See,
I have it on my desktop. Because some
oh,
friends want
then
to
you
do
can
this,
share
to
it.
keep some things on desktop. Keep something on
Sada,
desktop and maybe it can.
is Sada there? Because has Jana Anna got the right to share his screen?
Yeah, he can share
Okay.
it.
How do
Okay.
I how to share?
See, there
I'm
is
a
this.
digital
Yeah.
dinosaur.
See, no problem. See, this is in your screen at the bottom. Next, on the
Okay.
right hand side of the hand, you see the hand
Okay.
where the
Yes,
students
yes,
were
yes.
raising their hand. See
Yes,
on the
yes.
right side there you see present now. You take your cursor there. It'll
There's
tell
an arrow
you
mark.
present. Yeah. So
Press
you
now.
you
Yes.
click. Yeah, you click that arrow.
I clicked it. It says your entire screen.
Yes. So you
Okay.
click again your entire screen.
Okay, I clicked.
Okay. Now go to your
it says
desktop.
allow, don't allow. I'm allowing it.
Yes. So come to your
Allow.
desktop now. Yeah.
Okay.
So now, yes, you're sharing the screen. We can see your
Okay.
screen. So now
Okay.
now you click wherever that file is there.
Okay, I've clicked. Now, can
So
you see
now we
this?
can see, yes, we can see it.
Okay, I'll play it.
Yes. Ah, see, children, the handwriting.
That's the 30
Yeah.
second I
Yes,
had.
yes.
You're also
Oh.
dressed for the part.
Oh, you're.
Yes, I had to play the part. I said a drama. You have to do drama.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes. You did it very well.
Drama. I need to look the part of it, right?
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Somya, I think we'll take this last question. Somya.
Sure.
Anna,
Yes.
everyone says that there is a lot of advantage if we have good handwriting, but our
Yes.
doctors don't even have a good handwriting, Nona. But you are still paid.
Look, the doctor also went to the same schools that we went to. And unfortunately, we were not taught the right way of writing. And the whole society keeps blaming you, telling that, look at this handwriting, look at her handwriting. In local language, they'll say, avan kerkod nodu, koli kalu, gubachi kal tara, doctor agoduk layako. So we are filling in all that negative thought that if you have got bad handwriting, you can become a doctor. And when you become a doctor, when you join the MBBS course, they don't give you any special program of scribbling. So generally people think doctors means they should write badly. And I have so many friends who are doctors who write beautifully. So I ask them, what is your experience? They tell me, some patients will come and ask them, I believe, doctor, are you really MBBS? Because the society has given you so much of negative input and impact that the doctor cannot write beautifully. So they ask them, he says, yes, I've got MBBS, you see my certificate. Then some of them say, doctor, I'm so happy. You have written my medicine so clearly and beautifully. I know what medicine I'm going to take. I know what is my problem. I can read it clearly. I feel so nice to come to you. So there are both sides of it. So don't blame doctors for bad handwriting.
Anna.
Doctors are not taught to write badly. It is a school which you and I went to also unknowingly taught us the wrong system. Okay, clear?
Anna, but they say that. But they say that what the handwriting the doctors write, that only the medical people will understand, no, Anna?
Because I also ran a pharmacy for 3 years, way back in 80s. Why we understand this, we'll understand the doctor who is nearby our shop who is writing. By looking at it again and again, we try to guess. Sometimes we also don't understand. We'll ask the person, can you tell me what is the problem? Now your Bhaskar Anna knows. In pharma industry, they have got medical representatives. Every week they have to go to different places. They have to go meet the doctor and tell them this is the medicine we have got. This is what is the advantage, disadvantage, indication, contraindication. All that they will explain and say, please prescribe our medicines. And he will also come to my shop and say, I have just visited the doctors around. Then that evening onwards, I know what prescriptions will come. What is that name he is going to write? That is how we guess and we make out. Oh, this doctor has prescribed this medicine. This medical representative came. So sometimes in a day, 3-4 medical representatives will come. Then we know what are all the medicines that are going to be prescribed by the doctor. Right? It's familiarity which lets us actually understand the doctor's writing. Sometimes we also struggle. We ask them, what is your problem? Can you tell me? Then they'll say, I've got cough. I have got lung congestion. Then we try to connect the problem to the medicine that they could have prescribed and give it to them. Okay.
Right.
True. Right. Yes, Kalpana. You vote of thanks from
Now,
you.
I want to now
Yes,
finish with the quote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, you said 1 hour, but then I couldn't stop myself at 1 hour when you ask questions. I need to give more. There's so much more to give.
No, all are saying dil mange more.
Yes. See, I'll give you one quotation which was given by Alfred Fairbanks, who said, handwriting is the dance of the pen on paper. How lovely, isn't it? When you hold your pencil or pen, think you're holding a dancer. How will you hold the dancer? Tightly? No. You can't perform the dance. Gently. And your fingers and the pen will start dancing on the paper. Paper is your stage.
It's like a
Right?
ballroom dance.
So next time, yes, it is like a ballroom dance. It is like a ballerina dance. It is going to be graceful. It's going to be beautiful. And at the end of your dance, it is all in your hands. Whether people are going to be waiting with rotten eggs and rotten tomatoes or they're waiting to clap and applaud you. It's all in your hands. You give the performance. So let your pen dance on paper. And I want to tell you, with good handwriting, you can impress anyone, anywhere, any age, any time, and you can really get the full advantage of it. The stroke of your pen and the power of your tongue will always rule supreme. All the very best to each one of you to write powerfully and attract as many people as possible to your handwriting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Janardhan. It's been absolutely refreshing. We are very, very impressed with all your words. It's been it's been invigorating.
Thank you.
We didn't even realize how the time just went by. And I was just thinking, you must speak to all our teachers. We'll organize one session. Usually we have something called Our Day, where the staff from all the 4 centers meet on a particular Saturday. It's on the 3rd Saturday of the month. And we'll invite you, sir, and we'll send you prior intimation. And if you're free, please do join us. I think there is lots to learn from you. The teaching community has a lot to learn from you.
In fact, I have a plan for the governments of our country where I have not succeeded because of certain delicate issues. I submitted a plan to Karnataka government in '93, where I said I will train all the teachers in the state, both in government schools, private schools, and in all the schools to become master trainers.
Right.
Even now, I have the dream of creating at least 1 crore jobs in the country as handwriting master trainers.
Oh,
we
wow.
need the support of like-minded people. It's a 3-year serious program like B.Ed, and we'll give more inputs, just not handwriting, but a lot of things in communication, general knowledge.
The more I listen to you, I realize it's not just writing.
Yes.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It's a combination of everything.
Absolutely.
Like I said, to put it, to repeat again, reading makes you a ready person, writing an exact person, and conversation a complete person.
True.
And that has to be there in every teacher, and they should go on speaking about a subject tirelessly, hour after hour, day after day, month after month, and no referring to books. This is what I want them to do. And when children ask questions, there comes the answer. There comes the answer. Load this hard disk. It can take hundreds of terabytes of information. What are we doing with it?
Right.
So if I can do it, you
much.
can do it better than me.
No, we'll have a long way to go, but we hope, all the children that have listened to you, I'm sure you've left an indelible impression on their mind.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm sure they'll take it forward someday. And Tasmia, yours will be absolutely the last question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
If there's something you want to say.
Akka, I didn't wanted to ask a question, Akka, but I wanted to say something, Anna. When
please do.
Anna put a message on the WhatsApp group, like we have Professor K.C. Janardhan coming to speak about handwriting, no, Anna. I really felt like again handwriting, again a boring lecture, again like that, Anna. Really, Anna. But now I am feeling sorry to say that, Anna, your class was so enthusiastic, Anna.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tasmia.
Well done, Tasmia.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Anna.
Yeah. We're looking forward to meeting you again, sir. And we'll definitely organize a trip to, the museum. It'll be a field trip for all those who have attended. I think we have to do it, and we'll do it very soon. Thank you so much. And Bhaskar,
thank you
so much. It was really
welcome.
an enriching class today.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure that we could rope in, and make Maestro K.C. Janardhan write for us in this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anna. We enjoyed a lot.
Thank you.
Understood a lot.
Thank you so much, Anna. See you again.
See you again.
Thank you.
Bye.